Washington mornings on the Mall. And AM 630.
WMAL. 807 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. You're listening to Mornings on the Mall with Brian and Larry, and we're joined right now by a huge Grateful Dead fan, Ann Coulter. Always good to have you in studio.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
And thank you for confirming that I'm not gay. Probably explains. Anna's thrilled that I'm not gay, Brian.
Well, some people have wondered.
There are plenty of questions out there. It's always good to have. We got to talk about your book, Adios America, by the way, which I understand is doing very well, and it should, by the way, because this is a topic that is on everyone's mind right now. And
because of Adios America.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone always says to me, "Oh, what good timing this book was." No, it's not good timing. The book came out. That's why everyone's talking about it.
Well, and I think that's why Donald Trump started to bring this up.
I know
your book launched like a week before. Did you guys?
I sent him an advance copy.
See. And
so you may have been the what is the word I'm looking for? The impetus for all of this.
Well, Trump has always been great on illegal immigration. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, I guess it was CPAC 2013,
right.
And CPAC, as you know, has become the Chamber of Commerce PAC.
Yes.
So they had lots of immigration panels, but it was all like, Whit Ayers and Grover Norquist. It was Marco Rubio, 100% pro-amnesty, pro-immigration. And the only two people who spoke against immigration at that CPAC were Donald Trump and me, because nobody reviews our speeches. We give standalone speeches. So I know he's been good on this for a while. He asked for and received an advance copy of my book. And since my book is mostly about all that spicy Hispanic rape stuff.
Yeah.
And just at the FOA meeting in LA.
Yeah.
He kept calling me up on, he was funny. He said, and he told everyone to read the book, but he said his sister tells him, apparently he's written 10 New York Times bestsellers. And he said, my sister always says to me, you've written more books than you've read, but I've read Adios America cover to cover.
There you go.
And all of you should too. And you should. It would help him.
It would. FOA meeting with Friends of Abe, that's the Hollywood conservatives.
Yeah, the big conservatives. And by the way,
try to keep themselves secret. Yeah.
Half of Los Angeles is in FOA at this point. Are they ever going to realize, hey, I think we could take this town over?
I have, as a card-carrying member, I've been trying to tell them that they got to stop trying to be secret, because as soon as they come out.
And I keep meeting Hollywood people who are total wingers and serious,
right.
Directors,
aside,
producers. Right. No. They don't know what FOA is. So it's even bigger than those enormous, allegedly secret meetings.
Well, you talk about conservatives in Hollywood, so we have to bring up Sharknado.
Yeah, well, let's get that out. Let's go ahead and get it out of the way.
You appeared as the vice president in Sharknado that premiered on Wednesday night. Here's a little bit of you as vice president talking about the Sharks.
Madam Vice President.
I feel for the Sharks, but they're wrecking our schools, our hospitals, our roads.
It's heavier than I thought it would be.
Did you write that line? Was that your
Well,
line?
yes, I did. And by the way, it went on quite a bit longer.
Yeah.
And the woman who asked me the question, who is herself an immigrant, told me it was that this is how I act. I just say things I really believe.
Yeah.
And I said it with such passion. This sweet girl said, "Oh my gosh, you've totally convinced me."
About the Sharks.
But talk about what was it like on the set, and because we all watch it and we get a good chuckle out of it. We were glad to see you. Thought you did a great job. But what was it like to do the movie?
It was totally fun. It's not despite what you may have heard, is not a high-budget production. So we were laughing the whole time. We'd take a cut. One time the director said to me, I think you were laughing at one point when the Sharks were chasing you, and I disputed this, and still... Well, are we going to cut it again? No, we don't have time. Let's just move on.
It's like Plan 9 from outer space. It's Ed Wood just saying, it's great. The set fell down, Ed. Oh, it's fine. We're fine.
It was like that.
Well, D.C. was almost a sanctuary city for sharks in that scene, the way they were coming in, and nobody was doing anything. The House just voted on sanctuary cities yesterday. They're trying to get rid of them. Obama says he's going to veto this. What is the argument in favor of sanctuary cities? What is their claim here? Because we just saw a poor woman get murdered by one of the people protected.
No,
by
I
this.
know.
Is there an argument?
I mean, to even talk about sanctuary cities, this is literally the least they could do. We have
literally
millions of peasant cultures pouring into the country every year, both legally and illegally. Forget the crimes, and they do commit far more crime than Americans, by all estimates that are worth anything. But just, even the ones that we hear about who aren't committing crimes, who are working hard, is that good for Americans? That should be the question of any government policy. And now we're talking about the jurisdictions, local states, and cities just completely ignoring federal law. It's just the fact that this is where we are, even with the country in a rage, and for 30 years over immigration. I mean, I'm not at all surprised that Trump is soaring right now. I think he could actually be the nominee. Well, I realized in the last week.
You really do? You think
you're very supportive of Donald Trump and his candidacy?
Yeah, I really am. And at first, I kept throwing in the caveat, as anyone who follows my work would know, I'm usually against I call them novelty candidates, but any candidate for president who hasn't been a governor, or isn't a governor now, or at the very, very least a senator. But Republicans haven't done that well with senators. Usually they distract us, they waste money, they take energy, and immediately he was an exception to my rule. But looking at it now, I really think, I hate to compare him to Perot, but he is so much better than Perot. He's not going to, back down when his family comes under attack. They're already public figures. And third, the country is angrier now than it was 30 years ago.
I grant that he's tapping into something. He's tapping into this anger. You're right. Perot got 19%. Donald's, some polls, he's up in around 24%. And there have been some polls that have taken after his comments about John McCain, which suggests maybe it hasn't dropped off all that much. But,
no, it went up.
Yeah, but so let me ask you this question, though, about the John McCain comments, because for a lot of people, including me, I was very entertained by what Donald Trump was saying. I thought he was bringing a great discussion. He was talking about immigration, and when other candidates really were not talking about it. I loved all that. But the John McCain thing was a step too far for me.
It's not something he's standing by. It's not like it's an official policy.
But he did for about 2 or 3 days until he realized.
No, he didn't. He was a flip remark. He realized it, and immediately, within 5 minutes, he went on and on saying,
the very
John
next day,
McCain,
he was asked, do you think you owe him an apology? And he said, no.
No,
I don't owe him.
I agree with that. What's the point in apologizing?
Yeah,
I don't think anybody should to the media. What is that? The new journalist's job? The official apology demanders? Within 5 minutes, he was calling John McCain a war hero. And to compare that to, with serious deliberation, Marco Rubio spent 3 years trying to push amnesty on the country. I think that's a bigger mistake than some flip remark that he instantly is retracting. And Jeb Bush, who campaigned for about 5 years to give illegal aliens driver's licenses. 13 of the 19 hijackers on 9/11 had Florida driver's licenses. He called illegal immigration an act of love. Those are rather more important mistakes.
Than a flip remark about John McCain. Yeah.
Well, I have more that I want to ask you.
Thank you. Finally, I got someone here on my side on this one. Yeah, well, I'm moving to this side here, over here.
Listen, I'm happy to stand by my position here. But I want to ask you some more stuff about the Trump candidate.
Feel that what you said when you said that the people across the border are rapists and murderers.
No. We're talking about immigration. That's a typical case of the press with misinterpretation. You're with Telemundo, and Telemundo should be ashamed. And I'll tell you something, what's really going to be fun? I'm right now suing Univision for $500 million. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to win a lot of money because of what they do.
So there's the Donald in full Donald mode going after the media. But here's my question for you. Ann Coulter, our special guest this morning in studio. And he was asked directly, are you going to run a third party, or would you consider running as a third party candidate? And when he talked to The Hill, he said, well, if the Republican Party doesn't, treat me with the kind of respect, if I don't feel like they're being fair, yeah, I might do it. You and I can agree on one thing. A third party candidacy
would be fantastic.
Well, hold on a minute, though.
Go, Trump, go.
There are those who believe that a third party candidate would absolutely seal the fate of Hillary Clinton as the next president of the United States.
If our nominee is Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Rick Perry, or really pretty much any of those midgets, our fate is sealed.
Really?
Yeah.
You believe that splitting the Republican vote, and with a lot of people going over to Trump.
Yeah, I think Jeb or Rubio should drop out. Yeah, no, look at,
But if you can't secure the Republican nomination, why would you stay in the race?
Well, I wouldn't assume that Donald Trump does not secure the Republican nomination, but, I mean, he's way ahead in the polls.
The only reason
why
he would run
is he
as a
the only
third-party
one
candidate?
being asked this?
That's true.
I
think
total insult.
The other candidates need to be put on
well,
record.
maybe it
on
has
this as
something
well.
to do with the fact that the man has been known to give money to Democrats in the past.
So what? Ronald Reagan signed the most liberal abortion law in the entire country. He passed the biggest tax hike in the entire country at that time. And I would add, with Donald Trump, so has Rupert Murdoch. So has any businessman operating in New York. In fact, the New York Post endorsed Hillary Clinton for Senate. Now, why do they do that? I don't know if you guys ever do this. You look up Open Secrets because I want to know where anyone I'm having dinner with, whom they have given money to. And I'll tell you, businessmen are always giving money to
there is
Democrats.
no politics in
New
business.
York,
Yeah.
in New York, I'm amazed
but
he
Ann,
ever gave $1 to a Republican.
And if he runs as a third-party candidate, he does not win, and neither does the Republican.
Again, the Republican isn't winning if it's Marco or Jeb Bush. That's mad. Absolute madness.
You really believe that?
Yeah.
Well, the polls disagree with you, Ann.
No, they don't. The polls show Donald Trump is our strongest candidate. He's way ahead of the rest of them.
The polls that were just released in Colorado, Iowa, and Virginia, key battleground states, all showed that Marco Rubio, Scott Walker, and who's the third one? Jeb Bush, could all beat Hillary in those battleground states.
In 3 states.
I like that. That's how you talk about our winning candidates. And what's the other guy's name?
There's a lot of them.
All right,
to keep
you
up
two.
with.
All right, you two. Don't let me get between you. Oh, I am between you.
No,
all right.
the more I see Trump talk, the more it diminishes the other candidates
That's
for
true.
me. And if I could just point out, I'm also coming from a background of opposing these candidates who haven't been governors. I was against Herman Cain. I was against Michelle Bachmann. I was against Newt Gingrich. I mean, for other reasons too. But I've always argued, no, it's got to be a governor. I'm against Carly Fiorina running. I am against Ben Carson running. Trump is different. We have been lied to for 30 years. I mean, with George Bush, when Perot had his opening, Perot, a funny-looking little guy with a weird accent who dropped out because the CIA disrupted his daughter's wedding, that guy got 20% of the vote over one lie over raising taxes. We have been lied to for 30 years about immigration. That's why Trump is striking this chord. He's attractive. He's tall. He's hilariously funny. I think he could be not only a nominee who could win, but a third-party candidate who could win.
More with Ann Coulter on Adios America, her book, and about Donald Trump because, well, it's Donald Trump, and that's what we're talking about everywhere in America. And your calls, by the way, if you want to jump in and talk to Ann Coulter, this is your chance, 888-630 WMAL.
105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL, where Washington comes to talk.
We continue with Ann Coulter live in studio for the rest of this hour, by the way, if you want to jump in, 888-630-9625. MTV yesterday debuted a documentary show called White People, Ann Coulter.
Yep.
And it's, well, here's a little bit of the trailer.
When you say white, what does that mean to you?
We've never had to internalize what white people have done in America, but here, you can't escape that.
Feels like I'm being discriminated against. You kind of get this feeling that things belong to you.
I'm getting uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Hey, this is great. Let's get all uncomfortable together.
Yeah, that guy right there, Jose Antonio Vargas, I think he's an illegal immigrant, by the way, right? And proudly proclaims it. This was you last night talking about him on Megyn Kelly's show.
He has his own show on MTV. You're getting driver's licenses across the country. You can become a lawyer in California. How about getting Donald Trump to arrest Jose? We can start right there. The point is, yes, any group will have rapists, but these aren't people who have any right to be here.
Let's get really serious.
Sounds tough living in the shadows.
Right.
He hosts his own show on MTV.
Yeah. And complains that he's living in the shadows and a third world citizen
well,
here
that's
in
the
America.
other thing
third
that has
class
to
citizen,
be,
I should say.
One thing I really hope my book will accomplish is for Americans not only to start thinking we don't have to be the battered woman's shelter of the world. We are a country. We can search the world and get the best immigrants we want.
We are allowed to say, yes, you can come in. No, we don't need you here.
But more than that, not just, yes, you can come in because, oh, yay, you won't go on welfare.
Right.
How about you'll actually contribute something and make our lives better? But the second point is immigrants aren't black people. The reason we have civil rights, the reason we're sensitive to race is because the Democrats fought a war to preserve slavery. The Democrats imposed 100 years of Jim Crow laws on black Americans. If you're just arriving yesterday, we didn't do anything to you. In fact, we probably saved you from earthquakes or rescued you from the Nazis. No, we owe nothing to you. How about you guys start sucking up to us rather than going around saying how aggrieved you are and bossing us around?
Amen. All right. More with Ann Coulter on this. And you agree the immigration issue will be the number one issue in the 2016 election, or
Thank
should
you,
be.
candidate
right?
Donald Trump.
All right. More of Ann and your calls.
It's now 8:25 on WMAL. Time for traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives, here's Christy O'Brien in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
On the Beltway Inner Loop at Kenilworth Avenue, there's an accident blocking the right lane, seeing delays from 95. On the Outer Loop at the Wilson Bridge, disabled truck partially blocks the right lane. And on the Outer Loop out to Leesburg Pike, there's an accident off on the shoulder. 66 eastbound near the car rest area, we have an accident blocking the left center lane. Herndon, Leesburg Pike eastbound at Dreamsville Road, an accident blocks the right center lane. In Frederick, 270 southbound, an accident blocks the on-ramp from 85. Metro Rail, green line, delays in both directions due to an earlier disabled train outside Suitland. This report brought to you by MyCleanPC.com. If your computer is running slow, go to MyCleanPC.com and get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyCleanPC software to clean out the junk that may be slowing down your computer. Increase your computer speed today with MyCleanPC.com. That's MyCleanPC.com. Now the 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
Well, not too bad for a Friday morning commute. The afternoon commute will not be bad either. And changes coming for the weekend, but they're for the better if you like the hot weather. We're going to get well into the 90s by Sunday. Near 90 today, plenty of sun. Tonight, clear 69. More sunshine tomorrow, 92. And a few clouds Sunday, middle 90s. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel on WMAL.
Currently in the nation's capital, 72 degrees. It is now 8:27 on WMAL.
The National Mall, ground zero for American politics.
Our country is going down the toilet really fast because our leaders are refusing to listen to us.
Washington's Mall, WMAL.
I think exactly what the previous caller said.
Where Washington comes to talk.
It's not enough for a hospital to be in the community. It's got to be there for the community, consistently providing exceptional care and treatment day in, day out, or year in, year out, when the hospital is Inova Fairfax. For the fourth year in a row, U.S. News & World Report has recognized Inova Fairfax as the #1 hospital in the greater Washington region. 4 years of attracting internationally known specialists and providing leadership in genomic medicine, the ultimate in personalized and preventative medicine. But U.S. News didn't stop there, also giving Inova Fairfax a national ranking in both pediatrics and gynecology. We'll continue being there for the community when we open the new, expanded Inova Women's and Inova Children's hospitals at our Fairfax campus in January 2016. Inova. Join the future of health.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a 1,000,000 bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts. Don't miss this limited time offer. We're going to let 1,000,000 people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts, and also receive free shipping when you call right now. Call 800-393-6272. That's 800-393-6272.
Inventory is everything. Product sitting on shelves is money sitting on shelves. Managing our inventory is key. That's why I use Keep Stock Solutions from Grainger. Keep Stock Solutions help keep just the right amount of inventory on hand. Keep Stock Solutions help keep the cost down. Keep Stock Solutions keep me a happy camper. What's the key to better inventory management? Keep Stock Solutions from Grainger. Get it? Got it? Good. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock for more information. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With CoudaSign, paperless e-signing is a no-brainer for any business that requires legally binding signatures fast. That's because CoudaSign offers everything you should expect from an electronic signature solution for just $1 per month. CoudaSign cuts document turnaround time as much as 90%, thanks in part to its #1 rated mobile app. And CoudaSign's secure cloud stores documents for on-demand tracking and retrieval. Get CoudaSign now for just $1 per month. Go to CoudaSign.com. That's CUDASIGN.com.
Well, our special guest this hour is Ann Coulter, and we got another 30 minutes straight ahead. Right now, though, it's time for the news. When we come back, we'll talk to Ann, and if you want to ask Ann a question, the number is 1-888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. 8:30 in the nation's capital.
WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL Washington. A Cumulus station where Washington comes to talk. News now.
WMAL News at 8:30. Good morning. I'm Caroline Tucker. Your headlines now. Lafayette Police Chief Jim Kraft has just identified the shooter in the Louisiana movie theater shooting as 59-year-old John Hauser of Alabama. Kraft said investigators found several disguises, including wigs and glasses, in his possession. They say he was staying at a motel in the area. They say Hauser fired 13 rounds in that theater before killing himself. Macy Bowe and Jillian Johnson are two of the victims who died on the scene there. Two other victims were released from the hospital. Meanwhile, one is still in critical condition. However, a total of 9 people were injured in that shooting. The man charged with killing a Metro passenger on Independence Day is expected to return to D.C. Superior Court today. 18-year-old Jasper Spires has been charged with killing 24-year-old Kevin Sutherland on a Red Line train. A memorial service in Virginia was held to honor a sailor killed during the Tennessee shootings. Petty Officer 2nd Class Randall Smith and 4 other Marines died. He served aboard the USS Wasp from 2011 to 2014. Checking your money now, the Dow opens the day at 17,731. The Nasdaq opens at 5146. In sports, the Nationals fell to the Pittsburgh Pirates in a score of 7-3. Orioles lost to the Yankees. Final score 9-3. Up next, traffic and weather on 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
I just graduated from high school and was even admitted to my first choice college. That's all good, right? But I've got a learning disability and ADHD. Compared to my friends, I worked doubly hard in school. Can I keep that up in college? And can I stay focused without my folks to help me?
For 30 years, Landmark College in Vermont has been transforming the lives of bright and motivated students with ADHD, ASD, or language-based learning disabilities such as dyslexia. We offer a bachelor's degree in computer science, studio art, or liberal studies. Students can also choose from among several associate degree options, including business, life sciences, and computer science. Visit landmark.edu to learn more or to apply, and find out why Landmark College is the country's best college for students who learn differently. That's landmark.edu.
Washington red tape causes lots of problems, like the Renewable Fuel Standard. It's a big government mandate forcing higher blends of corn ethanol in our gasoline. That's really a blend for special interests. It just doesn't make sense. USA Today says the Renewable Fuel Standard raised prices on gas and groceries. It could even damage your car engine, according to independent studies. Anti-poverty groups like ActionAid and Oxfam say using so much food for fuel contributes to hunger. And it's bad for the environment. That's why Friends of the Earth and the Environmental Working Group oppose the higher ethanol mandate. Leading newspapers like the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post also oppose the RFS, as does a large bipartisan coalition in Congress. That's rare. The Renewable Fuel Standard is broken. Go to philuponfacts.com and tell the EPA fix the Renewable Fuel Standard. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
Our customers use the Verizon networks day in and day out. They watch the news while streaming their favorite shows. They hear Mom loud and clear when she calls.
Hi, sweetie, it's Mom.
Or share way too many photos with the family. That's why we're here to support our customers every day. On the phone, in person, rain, or shine. To help us deliver the service our customers expect, all of us at Verizon receive great support, like the best training in the business and tuition assistance, along with competitive salaries and excellent retirement and health benefits. And that's why we're recognized as a great place to work by Working Mother 100 Best Companies, now 10 years in a row. and ranked #1 on the Military Times Best for Vets Employers 2015, and #1 on the top 50 employers list by Equal Opportunity Magazine. Verizon.
Do you need home cleaning services you can trust? Do what I did. Choose Molly Maid. Contact participating Molly Maid locations and get 10% off the first 3 cleanings. Visit WMAL.com/MollyMaid. That's WMAL.com/MollyMaid for details.
It's 8:35 on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL. Traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the 5s, here's Christy O'Brien in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
In the district, Southeast Southwest Freeway, westbound at Main Avenue, there's an accident blocking the right lane. On the Beltway inner loop at Kenilworth Avenue, accident is clearing in the right lane. Outer loop at the Wilson Bridge, disabled truck partially blocks the right lane. And on the outer loop after Leesburg Pike, there's an accident on the shoulder. 66 eastbound near the car rest area, accident blocks the left center lane. In Herndon, a crash Leesburg Pike eastbound at Drainsville Road, blocking the right center lane. On the ICC westbound at Layhill Road, there's reports of a crash. And westbound at Georgia Avenue, accident blocks the shoulder. Now the 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL Weather Channel forecast.
The Big Blue H on the weather map. High pressure in a beautiful looking Friday with plenty of clear sky. Humidity held in check too. High near 90 this afternoon. Looks like we'll stay in the 90s over the weekend. I'm meteorologist Ray Stidgick from the Weather Channel on WMAL.
Right now, it's 76 in Vienna, 68 in Gaithersburg, and 76 at Reagan National. I'm Caroline Tucker on 105.9 FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM and AM 630.
8:36 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Special Friday treat because we are joined in studio by our good friend. We're big fans as well. Ann Coulter is with us. Hello, Ann.
Hello. Good to be here.
Good to have you here. Brian and Larry in the house with Ann Coulter. And we'll take your calls. 1-888-630-9625, 888-630 WMAL if you have a question for Ann. And before we get to some of those calls, and we definitely want to see what people have on their mind and give them a chance to ask their questions, but I want to turn to this Planned Parenthood story that has been developing over the last few days. We are talking about immigration. That's a good thing. It seems that these undercover videos have struck a nerve with the American people, and this may be a game changer. Your thoughts on these really almost, they're very difficult to talk about. They're hard to watch, but these discussions that have developed as a result of these undercover videos about Planned Parenthood and baby parts.
No, it's great. It's shocking. I'm so glad they've done it. But I kind of feel like most Americans knew this. I mean, I don't think there are that many people who are surprised. I mean, we had all those hearings on partial birth abortion a few years ago. I think people are on one side or the other. And I'm sorry, I do keep coming back to immigration on this. Immigration is the new litmus test. When Ronald Reagan came along, a lot of the Republican Party was pro-abortion. I believe George Bush, the first Bush, was pro-abortion. He had to flip to be Reagan's running mate. A lot of the Republican Party was pro-gun control. And you finally have one politician come along and who is where the people are. I think we've been going so long on this with the elites against the people on immigration that this is what's separating the mice from the men. And when I see some of our candidates, and other than the two I've already bashed, I don't really like to bash Republicans by name, but even some of the ones I kind of like, and their big thing is to keep talking about this abortion thing. Well, that's great if it were 1977. I'd think you're really brave and you're doing a great thing, but I kind of think you're just a putz imitating what was good 40 years ago at this point. And one other crucial thing I want to say before you guys cut to weather and traffic, if you also want to talk to me live and in person today, I'll be at the Heritage Foundation at 3:30. With the Eagle Forum
Collegians. Yeah. In fact, this is Phyllis Schlafly's group, and I wanted to just say...
And you can register at the door.
Many of you may be out there thinking, I wish my college kid could hear Ann Coulter instead of the Marxist professors that they hear all day long.
Right.
Well, this is a chance to get your college kid to hear Ann Coulter at the Heritage Foundation.
But you don't
today.
have to be in college,
No,
and
anybody
I'll
can
be
come.
doing a book signing, too.
Cool. All right. So we want people to get a chance to talk to you and ask you their questions. Can we take a few calls?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to Steve in Middleburg. Steve, good morning. You're on with Brian, Larry, and Ann Coulter this morning.
Ooh, that has a nice ring to it.
Hey, guys. Hey, hello, Ann. How are you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm one of your biggest customers. I buy each of your books twice, once for my wife and once for my liberal sister in Minnesota.
That's fantastic.
Just to annoy her. I also gave her the Talking Ann Coulter action figure. We've talked about that before.
Oh, that's a collector's item.
Yeah. I won't tell you what she does with it.
No worse than what Sean Penn does to it.
Anyway, to the point, though, 30 years ago, I crunched numbers for the immigration bill in '86. I actually attended that ceremony at the White House. And I predicted then that it would result in 20 million illegal aliens in the next 20 years. I think those numbers have been exceeded.
Mm-hmm.
Considering the demographic projections for 2050, do you think this debate is actually over? And, it's great for fodder for TV and radio ratings and book sales, no offense. I don't begrudge anybody a living. But do you think that this debate is essentially over, and what can be done to reverse the trend?
No,
and you hear this a lot from the roves of the world.
Right, I wouldn't have written this book if I thought it was over. I don't need any more money, Steve. But if the book doesn't work, if things don't change, perhaps if Trump isn't elected, there will be no purpose to continuing the argument, because I do think we're at the tipping point right now. I think we have a narrow path to victory, which is why I am thrilled by Donald Trump's presidency. I hope it wakes up some of these sleeping Republicans in case, on the off chance Trump is not our nominee. But no, we can win. Look, for one thing, there are at least 30 million illegal aliens here right now. But things look quite a bit different when you take 30 million people out of the equation. Moreover,
but to the demographic issue, we keep hearing from the roves of the world and other people that we can't go against illegal.
Let's get to that in a moment. Okay. I'm answering Steve's question first.
Behave yourself, Larry.
Your question is the old
Back
one.
out of
No,
the way.
there is still time, and my argument is, as you'll read in my book, the chapter "Shut It Down." We need an absolute, complete, 100% immigration moratorium for at least 10 years, because every single legal immigration category is a fraud. Steve is right. Of the more than 1 million legal immigrants we admit every year, including, that lovely Muhammad down in Chattanooga, including the Boston bombers, including legal Mexicans. I mean, we do not have a diverse legal immigration process. The vast majority of legal immigrants, or the vast plurality, the huge number, are from Mexico, and a lot of them turn out to be murderers. And certainly the post-1970 immigrants are voting 8-2 for the Democrats, but there is still time to reverse it. So, read my book and vote for Donald Trump.
Well, let's see if we can get another call in here. Chris in Silver Spring, you're on with Brian and Larry, and Ann Coulter. What's your thought?
And you wrote a book on how Republicans run their campaigns. And I'm just wondering why there's such wimps when they run their campaigns. For instance, in Maryland, there's video out there that shows that Ben Cardin had no idea what the Patriot Act is, and then he lied that he wasn't in Congress when it came up for a vote. And I've never seen this as the centerpiece for a campaign by a Republican against Ben Cardin.
Right.
Why don't Republicans
That's a great
run as
question.
tough? Yeah.
And not only that, I can now answer your question also, which is the demographic one that's always put forward. We have to suck up to Hispanics, or otherwise
we'll lose the election.
Right.
Yeah.
And as with the last caller, I think the problem is with political consultants. It's not the candidates probably aren't bright enough. Obviously, Trump is smarter than the rest of them, or most of the rest of them. Look, for a political consultant, they just want fast cash. And I don't think cash is that important anymore in campaigns. That is the fourth reason Trump has an advantage over Perot, who was a semi-ridiculous candidate, and he got 20% of the vote. And that is because of talk radio and the internet. People aren't reliant on the three networks for their news anymore. It is a totally different media environment than when Perot won. So I am not discounting the idea that Trump could become president. But what the consultants tell the candidates is, you have to get this Hispanic vote. You have to get these. Well, why does that get you money? Because the elites want their cheap servants. That's why the Chamber of Commerce and all the lobbyists in Washington, all the money is for more and more low-wage labor. And I think Trump is absolutely right that of Hispanics who would ever consider voting Republican, he will get more of their votes than any other Republican would, because he wants to get their wages up. And he'll do that by cutting down on this dump of low-wage labor. And then to get more directly to your point, Look, the Republican Party, the base of the Republican Party isn't the Hispanic vote. It's the white vote. Why are Republicans embarrassed about getting white people to vote for them? The Democrats haven't been able to get a majority of white people, i.e. the people who built this country, since 1948, other than the 64 landslide for LBJ. So, the Democrats looked around the country and saw, okay, fine, Americans, you won't vote for us. We tried this the easy way, but we're going to bring in ringers. And they just keep dumping third worlders on the country to block vote for the Democrats. They're totally open about saying, this is fantastic, the browning of America, Republicans will never win. Why don't Republicans say, fine, you're the minority party, we're the white party? I mean, white voters would be so astonished if anyone, any political candidate, ever asked for their vote.
And by the way, you have a stat in Adios America, which you should all buy right now, Adios America, about how much of the Latin vote would have made a difference in this last election.
71% of the Hispanic vote, Romney still loses. 4% more of the white vote, Romney wins.
Yeah, think about that.
That's from Byron York.
If Romney gets 70% more of the Mexican or the Latino vote,
you're never going to get it, Republicans.
Then you're never going to. 4% more of the white vote, and Romney's our president.
Right.
Well, this has been great,
Coulter.
Ann. Thank you for
coming.
coming.
Are you throwing me out now?
No, you're going to stay here to say hi to Chris Plant when he comes in. So you're going to stick around, and you're going to listen to traffic.
She's not done yet.
She's going to occupy the studio. Up twinkles, Ann Coulter.
But, of course, Ann Coulter, again, it's such a pleasure to have you in studio.
Yep, it's a blast.
Thank you.
We might have to have you be part of the morning team, actually.
Yeah, I'll be back next Friday.
And again, 3:30 today at Heritage Foundation, just by the Union Station. Of course, you know where it is. Phyllis Schlafly's Eagle Forum Collegians, and you're going to be speaking there and signing your book, and it's awesome.
Yes, I will.
I might even come down. I might bring my kids.
And then we might bring Chris Plant. Hello, Chris.
Is that at 3:30 p.m. today? Can you register at the door?
You can, actually.
I think you can. That's what I heard. I heard that on WMAL earlier this morning. I think that's an excellent idea. Look, Donald Trump kind of owns it today, doesn't he? The Jose Diaz-Balart exchange, hilarious. There's a lot to get to on this one.
That plus Ann Coulter for the next 3 hours with Chris Plant.
WMAL FM Woodbridge, WMAL Washington, 105.9 FM.